I think the framework's really important because we spend a lot of time in the NHS talking about structures, and in my language that would be, we talk about geography, mountains, rivers, forests, and what we don't talk about is climate and what people do in those organisations. And whilst geography establishes climate, climate also establishes geography. So I think it's really important with this whole strategic focus on people that we focus much more on climate than we do and have done traditionally in the NHS. That's what it's about. It's a longer term journey because I think we've disinvested in the people quotient of leadership, of talent development, of mentoring and coaching, and it's time to re-establish it across the whole system. It's pretty evident that compassionate leadership, collective leadership, instinctive collaboration needs to be given a real go. Top down doesn't work. We're seeing that now. We've seen that over quite a period of time. Many people talk to me as I go around the hospital sector, the provider sector, the primary care sector. Let's get to what we actually do when we interface with patients and the public. Compassionate, caring, people-driven activity. That level of work is entirely consistent with making progress in a highly people-centric system such as the NHS. And quite frankly, the number of metrics, targets, instructions, short-termism just get in the way of what we really need to do in the NHS, which is oxygenate the talents of all of our people, from the front line to the management and through into the leadership. One of the things about the arm's length bodies is the geography that was established in 2012 in terms of structures created too many impediments for what I would call instinctive collaboration with people who have different jobs but the same purpose, essentially delivering better health and care outcomes to the populations we serve. So I would urge all arm's length body colleagues to lower the barriers, get out there into joining hands, as we have done very well with CQC on use of resources and well led over the last few months, so that we go to market, in my sense of the word, together, as opposed to seeing that we are disaggregated, as has been too often the case. Nurturing leadership sounds like it's soft, it's really hard. But actually at its heart is having conversations, treating people as people. People are not machines, we're all human beings, and the ability to nurture leaders through developmental stages, through coaching, through mentoring, through explaining to people from mistakes, and I look at some of the shorts rounds and some of the huddles that go on when that happens in hospitals. That's just a replication of what should be happening in arm's length bodies and across the system. The enemy is actually outside the arm's length bodies, is outside the NHS. It's the great benefits of longer life, but with that the comorbidities. It's the social challenges, it's the funding, and it's the demand. We need to get through and focus on the real enemy. And I do think that the focus on the people, developing talent, it can be done at all levels by every individual in a management position, as we see, quite frankly, in frontline positions where people are doing that instinctively on wards and in hospitals and in other community practices. I think one of the things we've done in the last year in NHS improvement is we've set the foundations for a really good, positive regulator. People look at regulators and say, well, you're a regulator, and that sort of comes up with you're cold and you're timid and you're aloof and you're remote and you're central. I think good regulation is about strong relationship management, speaking the truth, being honest, being rigorous and robust when we need to be, but equally being caring, approachable, and I use the word in the sense of positivity, intimacy with our colleagues in the system. Of course things go wrong. If things go wrong on a serial and continuous basis, then that pushes you very strongly through the single oversight framework into what I call the warm embrace of the regulator. But most of the time we should be pushing out, allowing the system to breathe, allowing it to oxygenate, allowing it to get on with the job. And I think that is at the core purpose of the challenges for NHSI over the next 2 or 3 years.